I'm a living legend, I can't die, no, I can't die. I'm a living legend, I can't die, no, I can't die. I'm a living legend, I can't die, no, I can't die. Ay, I'm a living legend, I can't die, no, I can't die. Everybody giving me advice is never right. That is why I only listen to my own advice. I'm a living legend, I can't die, no, I can't die. Ay, I'm a living legend, I can't die, no, I can't die. Label me a rock star, cause I rock and I shine. Y'all wasting your time, swear this world is mine.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of 4 Square. I'm Matt.
I'm Alex.
I'm Lucas.
And I'm Jeff.
What's going on, y'all?
Man, last night is the first time I went to the movies post-COVID, man.
A word?
Oh man. How did that go?
It was, it wasn't a lot of people, so it was good. Of course, this family with a baby came right next to me. Out of all the seats, I'm like, all right, I still went all the way to the back, too. I'm like, of course, we would bring the baby. I mean, the baby didn't make that much noise, so that's good, but yeah,
is that your primary spot of choice? Like in the very top back?
Either the very top back or like towards like the bottom. If I want to be like really immersed in the movie. This time I decided
I went to a 4D movie. That was probably one of the coolest experiences I've ever been to be honest.
Where was that?
The movie was terrible. It was in Atlantic Station. The movie itself was terrible, but like being like actually like immersed in the movie, like you're actually moving around with all the action scenes and stuff like that, and like getting like shot at and stuff with like air and getting splashed with water and all that stuff. Like that was pretty cool.
The only 4D movie I went to was the one at the Coke Factory.
Same. That's the only one that's like real 4D.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is like the Regal Theater in Atlantic Station.
Yeah, in Atlantic Station.
Yeah. So I went with some friends from college, and yeah, I mean that was a cool experience. Like I said, the movie was just awful, just terrible.
What did you see, Jeff?
I saw Fast 9.
You really went to see it?
Yeah, I was like, might as well. Yeah,
how did you have to see it? Bro,
do y'all think that
movie franchise ended with Paul Walker?
Yeah,
like I said,
I gotta say though, Paul Walker was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, just like after he died, it was kind of hard to watch it, especially without seeing him. Especially because I wanted to see like more of like him and Mia and the baby, and like see if like they can add some like real like family child dynamics with it, and say be like, yo, like let's all calm down. But the second he died, they kind of just had to write him off and just put them to the side.
Actually, they technically didn't write him off. He did show. I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but I will say he did show up at the end of Fast 9. Though
he's still alive. Like at least they like kept that.
Yeah,
but it's funny. Speaking of Paul Walker, I don't know if y'all seen it, but there was this movie called Brick Mansions, and like it was like a very parkour driven movie. Like Paul Walker and unfortunately another guy whose name I can't remember, but I will look it up. But the whole thing was like, I believe he was a cop, and he was in like basically like a lower development building. They call it Brick Mansion. So it was like the center for crime or whatever. And him and this criminal, they team up, and basically like they just do everything parkour. It's just so unnecessary. Like they're running from people, parkour scene. They're fighting a dude, parkour scene. And honestly, like I liked him. Like the movie itself was kind of iffy, but I liked Paul Walker a lot. Like, he was a very fun character.
Since post-COVID, do y'all think that like there's been like genuine good movies out since that post-COVID?
I think they're starting to come back. I mean, you have like your blockbusters, like the movies that like the I'll even call like the amusement park type movies, like people you go in there to like having that movie experience. And you have the movies that are like not huge, like attraction wise, like in a wide audience, but more of like the cinephiles of the people that really dwell deep into filmography and stuff like that. like Oscar type movies, Academy movies.
See, yeah, I feel like the market's been saturated with a whole bunch of crappy movies.
Yeah.
Especially on Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, and like stuff like that. So like, you know, with Netflix coming out with their own like little Netflix studio movies, I feel like there's just been an oversaturation of just crappy movies. So you're not gonna see that many good movies.
Very
all
few.
The crappy ones.
The only one that I really enjoyed produced out of Netflix was Bird Box. That was the only one where it was like, this was like an interesting. Yeah, and that was prior to COVID, yeah. But as far as like post-COVID, there really hasn't been anything good. Like the only one that I saw that I know I want to see Snake Eyes, and I want to see.
You mean Netflix movies or movies in general?
No, in general.
Okay.
I want to see Snake Eyes, and I want to see Don't Breathe 2. I just saw the trailer for that, and I'm already like, I want to see it because I thoroughly enjoyed the first one.
There have been a few, I'd say, good ones. Like, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard really good things about the new Suicide Squad movie that came out yesterday.
Okay.
I heard.
I'm too confused on it.
I enjoyed Black Widow.
I'm only confused because it's like, this is the third Suicide Squad. Like there was like the second one. Say I remember the first one that had like Will Smith and Harley Quinn and like and all the other people, and then they're making like I saw Birds of Prey. Is that like all women Suicide Squad? And I see one where there's John Cena in this goofy helmet, and I was like, I don't.
So you got the first Suicide Squad movie, the directed by Ayer. That was like
the 2016 one
project. Yeah.
Okay.
The Birds of Prey movie that wasn't a Suicide Squad movie. That was a Harley Quinn movie. That was like introducing new DC characters and like giving a famous character a spin-off. Like Warner Brothers has been doing for a while. And now we got this Suicide Squad movie, which is like described
a reboot,
pseudo sequel. Now it comes after the first movie, but like it has new characters and like a new plot. Like they don't want to call it like a direct sequel because I don't know why, honestly. But hey, it's directed by James Gunn, so I'm excited for it.
What does that imply though? Like, is that what's going to
have a Guardians of the Galaxy feel to it?
Okay, I was asking to lead to like, what determines it to be a good movie? Like, what will it be? Like, is it like the producer, the director, the cinematography, the plot? Like, what will entice you to go see a movie then?
They definitely have way more characters in this new Suicide Squad. So
for me, I think it's going to be. For a Suicide Squad movie directed by James Gunn, it's going to be how the characters interact with each other. That's what's going to draw me. Because part of the reason me and everyone else loved Guardians of the Galaxy was because it was like, you know, that whole band of misfits trope, but they were just so perfect with each other. Like they were dysfunctional, but they worked well. And I kind of want to see that. Like John Cena is funny. I love John Cena and his movies and stuff. So I have good expectations. Not super high. It's Warner Brothers.
One thing I will say about Guardians of the Galaxy, though, it did two things in my opinion when it came to the MCU. It introduced like more humor, but it also made them go, okay, this worked. Now let's add it for every movie, and not every Marvel character needed to be funny like Guardians of the Galaxy. Just keep them as the funny people, and then be more serious here. Maybe like Tony, that makes sense, but like how Thor went from like this serious, like spoiled prince to like this goofy dude in Ragnarok was kind of like, okay, it's a good movie, but not everybody got to be funny.
Hey man, I enjoyed Ragnarok.
I'm telling you, bro, that's nostalgia. Watch it again. Watch it again.
It was cool. I wasn't like amazed by it, but I was like, it's cool. I want to see like more different like spin-offs because like now since like, you know, the end of like the Avengers and then for Marvel and then for DC the Justice League movies, we're starting to see more of like the spin-offs for like characters that you don't normally see in the spotlight. So like, you know, Joker, a lot of people said that Joker was really good, but then a lot of people are like giving like mixed reviews about like Wonder Woman or like or Black Widow for Marvel. And so where do you think that those are gonna How do you think those are going to transpire post or
I think
big movies?
DC needs to just focus on animated. They already got that on lock. Don't do no more live action. Marvel got that. Marvel don't touch animation. Just stick with live action.
There's something that I can say about like Wonder Woman and stuff like that. It was really visually appealing. Like the shots were beautifully done, I think. But you know, the movie itself was like,
Movie itself was but like
with animated, with DC's animated content, like it's way better than what you see with Marvel. That's my personal opinion, but it is absolutely just amazing. I love it. It's incredible.
There are going to be some that are going to need some do-overs. We already can name a few that just needs to be either done over or just thrown away. Like, you know, because everybody always throws up, you know, Green Lantern. It's like, that movie was trash. And
yeah,
I rewatched
DC live action has been getting better. Like Aquaman was pretty good.
Yeah, Aquaman was cool.
I love the Snyder cut.
I have not taken 4 hours out of my life to say I'm going to stare at a screen.
The Snyder cut, dude. I watched that work.
Take a break. It's literally divided in breaks. Like there's like I don't know if it's like 30
there are intermissions,
but it's like it's divided and the transition is good. So
they really are.
Like 2 sections and just walk away for a little bit.
I mean, it's like you seen how long Endgame is, and then not throw away superhero movies. We know like a long movie, Avatar. You know that movie is like 3.5 hours. But that's one of my favorite movies. I love the entire development from when they arrived on Pandora to when they left Pandora. Like, I enjoyed everything, even though I was like, damn, 3.5 hours just passed. And so I'm like, okay, this is Zack Snyder Cut. If I'm going to watch it, matter of fact, I'm probably going to watch it later today. Just to like get over with, just to say that I watched it. But I'm like, yo, can I really brave out 4 hours? We'll see.
That thing was hard. I love how it explained more.
Can we just like show some appreciation for Avatar real quick? That movie was the highest grossing movie for 10 straight years until Endgame, because literally people were like, "Oh, it's this close to Endgame," and then they started watching Endgame just to beat Avatar.
Yeah.
Well, then also Disney pulled the stunt where they put it back in theaters. I think they did something to like generate more, and I think that's how they do it. So I guess technically Avatar still did it right the first time.
Yeah, I mean it was so good it went back into theaters. It was on DVD and everything, and they put it back in theaters.
That's because like they don't have
a beautiful movie.
They don't, and there's no weight behind Avatar. Avatar was just a movie that was being produced like everything else, you know, just being marketed, and everybody had gravitated toward it so much. But then at least with, you know, Marvel movies, there's comic books, like there's cartoons, there's stuff that has been nostalgia from the past that they brought up to where they made the entire series watchable. So it was more of an expectation that the Marvel movies were going to be watched because it was very nostalgic for everybody. But for Avatar, it stood alone. So for me, I will always say that Avatar will take the cake only because they just did it with one punch. And it was more of an expectation.
Endgame, that's like the end all be all. Like that's the culmination of all like 11 years.
Exactly. And everybody knows the journey. Everybody knows that, you know, it's going to end at some point. And so
that's also
it was a great ending to a great book.
What do you say, Lou?
Like that was like a beautiful. When did the movie come out? Was it 2008? No, 2009. The movie came out in 2009, and for that time, it's like very few movies have actually like reached that level of just like cinematic beauty, both in like CG and regular effects. Like, it was ahead of its time.
And it attracted people who weren't even like into like those sci-fi type of movies. Like it was something deeper than just sci-fi and these new creatures and everything like that. Like it was an entire story that was from beginning to end good, being captured from good. Because even I was hooked to even when it was the main character, the dude, finding out that his twin brother was killed. And I was like, damn, like that's how we're gonna start. And then we're on a new planet. I'm like, well, I guess this is how the journey starts. And then all the way to hating the natives, to then loving the natives, to then wanting to become the natives. Spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen it, please go watch Avatar. It is a great, great film. Especially because
movies that have like motion capture, like they actually put dots on their face, so like their actual facial movements was in real time. And like they've already planned like sequels. I think it was supposed to come out this year, like Avatar 2, but I think it's gonna be like maybe 2023 by this point. But the reason why that one took so long is because 2022. And the reason why it's taking so long is because they're actually doing like the same like motion capture but underwater. They're trying to do underwater scenes.
I can believe that takes forever, because I wonder how long it took for it came out in 2009, but I wonder how long did it take? Like, when did they actually start? Because during that time, if you're telling me that they started in 2006, that they started really doing the dots where they wear like the black suit and the dots to do all of the motion capturing for the face mirroring and stuff, like that really stood. They stood out for their time period. And so now it's, I don't know, like, what do y'all expect for Avatar 2? Because apparently, like, I've seen snips where there's a baby.
So I've grown accustomed to the expectation where it's like, if I'm expecting a sequel of a phenomenal movie or even just a good movie, I'm a little scared, because like if it's that great, they have a very big shoes to fill. So I wouldn't be surprised if, since the movie's release, they have spent time working on their story, and then recently started doing all the actual development, because that like it didn't leave a whole lot of room. Like at the end, it was like, oh yeah, a new chapter in the beginning, but it didn't really leave like room for like what's next. Like, is there going to be a new villain?
Right. There was nothing. It was a happy ending moment, and I was satisfied with it. But we all saw when he officially converted his human body to the Avatar body. So we obviously know that he now is a native, and he now lives in that body now, and his old body is now going to be discarded. Great. But at that point, it's like, you know what? I'm happy. I'm happy with the ending. So now that we're coming in, so now it's like, what? Is Earth going to invade Pandora? Or is it going to be a civil war between tribes? But that's going to be hard, because the tribes united in the first movies. So now you're going to tell me that there's going to be division? Like, I don't know. That's going to be or it might be like an Armageddon type of thing where Pandora is going to get blown up. I don't know. Like, it's going to be very hard to top that, because history has shown the second movie usually is not that good, especially when the first movie is usually great. Because that's how I'm feeling about. Yeah,
where the second movie or the sequel is better than the first. Can you guys think of one?
I can think of one, actually.
Where the second was better than the first?
Dark Knight, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight was fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi version.
Yeah.
There are more. Come on, y'all, carrying the team here.
I can't think of it.
No, it's really hard though. Like, it's really not that many. That is like the second is better than the first. Like,
Empire Strikes Back. The original Star Wars trilogy.
The original Empire Strikes Back.
Oh.
Okay.
Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Yeah, because that what was that battle when they were in like the little desert-ish scene? That one. That's probably one of my favorite battle scenes. With the red dust.
Wait, in the new trilogy?
No.
In the original.
Old one. Where they have the giant things.
You mean an Hoth with the
Hoth was the ice planet.
It was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm visually picturing it, and I'm like, I don't remember ice.
How did you?
Yeah, bro.
You colorblind. I'm convinced.
You're convinced I'm colorblind?
How did you get desert from tundra?
Well, one, they're both
ice
dry.
desert, I guess.
Technically,
Tundra is
ice
ice
desert. Tundra really is the ice desert. So shut up.
Oh,
You
okay.
shut up.
No, you shut up.
Don't make this about me. All right, so we got Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Toy Story 2. Shrek.
You think Toy Story 2 is better than Toy Story 1?
I did enjoy. Personally, I mean, they cleaned up. They cleaned up the graphics. It was nice character development, I guess. With toys. Okay. I don't know. I'm just saying.
It's a character development with their toys. I guess.
Yeah, I guess, you know.
How do you feel about the Incredibles and Incredibles 2 debate?
Incredibles was better than the second.
Yeah, I honestly didn't care for the second one. Like, it was cool. It was cool seeing. The only thing that I really liked was seeing Jack develop his powers. That's really the one thing I see.
That's what everybody's been wanting to see for like 2 decades.
Literally, is Jack. And then when he had the fight with the raccoon, I was bawling laughing. Like, that was my favorite scene. Literally.
I think
all you see is now the GIF with Jack about to slap him like.
I think Incredibles 2 suffered from the first movie being so good that people's expectations was through the roof. I personally didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I thought Screenslaver was like a dope villain. I thought it was predictable, but I understand like because they're trying to be, I guess, woke with it, and I like when movies try to like tell a message. Because I mean, this villain was more of you know the YouTube channel Wisecrack. No. Okay. It's a YouTube channel and they like study movies and stuff like that. I'm a big like movie head. I really like studying movies and stuff. And they go into the philosophy of different movies. Whereas they talked about like in this specific video, it was like the motives of villains throughout the decades and how like in the 50s and 60s it was like America's like top blah 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 and everyone else communist is evil and stuff like that. In the 70s, you see like the counterculture movement from like the late 60s come in. So now it's movies about corrupt cops, corrupt government officials, because now like trust in the government is going down. So you see a lot of that. And then the 80s was kind of a mix of the two, where it was like cops are like more anti-heroes, where they'll go against the law to do something that's good, like ends justify the means type thing. 90s, there's a lot of domestic terrorism. There's a lot of domestic terrorists going on in the 90s. So like neighbors being Nazis and stuff like that. The 2000s was a lot of like anarchy and like existential nihilism, like life sucks. So you have like the Dark Knight, like the Joker that's just causing chaos just to do it. Or The Departed, or I think it was No Country for Old Men, where this dude was like Harvey Dent that just walk around, flip a coin and kill you if it landed on a certain thing just for fun.
For 2000s?
Yeah. No Country for Old Men. That was like early 2000s. I Am Legend, Armageddon, like like End of World, Misery,
Book of Eli,
Book of Eli.
I mean, even with The Incredible Syndrome, he just was just like, "Oh yeah, supers are done. I'm gonna just kill all of you now."
Yeah,
life is meaningless.
He wanted to rid the world of the idea of a superhero. That was
pretty
cool. And then in 2010s, you know, it was. Go ahead, Luis. My bad.
Oh no! I was collecting my thought because I remembered something about The Incredibles. Someone pointed out a detail where it's like, y'all remember the scene where he was a kid and he was trying to be his Mr. Incredible sidekick, and he was like, "Fly home, buddy, I work alone." In the original scene, he's holding the villain, and he's kind of like, mind your business, kid, I'm doing my work. But in his flashback, he's got a warped perception where it's like he's just like, "Fly home, buddy, I work alone." So it's kind of like in his mind. It had nothing to do with the job. It had to do with this idea of superiority. So it was like, I didn't notice that at first. That was pretty interesting. I thought that was kind of just like a flavor thing.
Yeah, I just saw that recently too, dude.
That's cool. It's crazy. I didn't even pay attention to it.
Exactly. I love movies that are like so popular, where it's like if you like later on, people are still analyzing and still pointing out stuff. Like there's an entire like conspiracy theory about Pixar movies where it's like they're all connected. Like one of my favorite ones is like every every Pixar movie is a different dimension, and Monsters Inc. has a portal to those dimensions with the doors.
That makes sense.
That was crazy.
There's a video that shows like a little like a little cut piece of a different character in each scene. And if you pay attention, like I can't remember, I think in Monsters Inc. there's a little cut piece of Nemo somewhere in some kid's room.
I know you're talking about. Yeah,
and then
you have the ball. You have the ball.
Yeah, and then the ball for Toy Story, and then I can't remember where Bugs Life is. Bugs Life is in somewhere.
But yeah, it's all connected. Pixar that obviously connects all their movies.
They've always done a great job with connecting all of the, and they also kind of like mimic like the same human characters. Like they don't really change them too much.
What's your guys' favorite Pixar movie?
Pixar movie?
Pixar only?
Well, Disney and then Pixar.
Disney, it's always a tie between. Well, I don't know. Some I can't always depict which one is which. Tarzan and Lion King are my favorite movies.
Okay.
I think Toy Story and Lion King are my favorite ones, and they're completely different for like different reasons. But like they both start off very sad. Yeah. They both start off super sad. But as far as like Pixar, I know for itself, I like Bugs Life only because if you watch it now, it's low-key a woke movie. It's low-key a woke movie from like, like segregation, like, when where the grasshopper was like, you're dirt. No, you're lower than dirt. You're an ant. And I was like, yo, who is he representing? And then when he gave this speech to all you ants, like, y'all are losers. Y'all put on this earth to serve us. I was like, hey, yo, these people really. And as a child, I'm just enjoying it. Like, oh my gosh. But as an adult, I'm like, hey, yo, like, oh my.
Check it. You remember the scene where he breaks open the little nut bottle or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And he says one ant might not be able to do anything, but if they all gang up, we
show
can't
strength.
do anything about that.
Right,
strength in numbers, strength in unity.
Right, and it's like, hey, yo, we gotta stick together.
Division of power is literally a unit of war, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's always a tactic. But then the only piece that I couldn't pick out was the bird. Because the main thing was always the beef between the ants and the grasshoppers. What was that bird represent? The bird is like, I kill all of you with one step.
I don't know if that had
but hey man,
like political meaning or social meaning, but I think that was just like a common enemy. Like remember, they are still bugs. What eats birds? So it's like I think that was like a pivotal moment where it's like, we either band together or we die.
Mm-hmm. Because as like all bugs, as a bug species, because like even when you go to like the bug city where like everybody was just out for themselves, I really hate how they depicted it to look like New York. but everything was all kind of just like old and dusty and stuff. But then let a bird pull up, everybody is about to die. So
wait, Lucas, did you say what your favorite Disney and Pixar movie was?
No, while y'all were talking, I was trying to figure that out. Actually, my favorite Pixar movie is a tie, believe it or not, between WALL-E and Monsters Inc.
You like WALL-E, really?
WALL-E was dope.
WALL-E was dope, dude.
I wasn't hooked on him just being this lonely robot. Like I was not. My heart was not feeling for that.
Bro, you've been here talking about how Bugs Life represented much more than just a bunch of bugs being bugs. WALL-E, that's significant. Like that had both emotional impact.
It was telling,
like real world significance. Like fast forward in the future, that's what it's gonna look like. And then it's like, and then it kind of like
everybody's fat and riding scooters.
I even scooter little chairs. Like I want to like
right, the little chairs, and everybody's this giant like. Lazy, don't do nothing, and just like
they devolve. They literally devolved into like what they basically couldn't walk in. But it's just like they put a lot of emotion. First of all, robots. They made a cockroach likable. They made a cockroach into a likable symbol. You know how fucking hard that is? That's really hard.
Everybody hates cockroaches. Everybody hates cockroaches.
When
Yeah.
you see a cockroach,
But everybody knows cockroaches can survive a nuclear blast.
I actually read a side note. I don't know. I read somewhere that apparently there's a theory that also scorpions could live through that kind of nuclear wasteland. And I gotta say though, like if somewhere distant future aliens come to our now deserted, destroyed planet and find giant mutated scorpions, I won't be mad. Giant roaches, disgusting, but giant scorpions, I'm cool with that. Scorpions suck.
That's a cool visual though. A giant scorpion, visually way more aesthetically more pleasing. But if you just see a giant roach, like we know plenty of people who just hate the sight of a roach, and everybody forgets it's like you are over 100 times bigger, faster, stronger than a roach. But there's something about this tiny little bug that just makes everybody's skin crawl.
Because they fly.
They're dirty.
Yeah.
That part. I definitely screamed and fell from seeing a flying cockroach. Because at that point I was like, yo, this man's gonna kill me. This bug is gonna kill me. I have nothing for it. Because I was cool with stopping it, but the second it opened his wings, I was like, oh no, you are an upgraded Pokemon.
I was with some friends one time, and we one of them he doesn't like bugs, but he's fairly cool with roaches. He hates bugs that fly because to him it's like he can't outrun them, he can't do anything about them. They're too unpredictable. So we saw a roach one time in our friend's apartment. It was on the wall, and he was like, "Okay, as long as it stays over there, minds its business, I'm fine." And then the roach didn't fly; it just like fluttered its wings and so me and my other friend were like, "Haha, so much for that." This dude did not wait a second. He stood up. This man like leapt off the couch and like Superman punched the damn wall and squashed the roach with his bare hands. No hesitation. And we're just sitting there like,
why?
He really does not like roaches.
Like
he looked over and he said, "Never again." Like he had the blood of his enemy on his
right. Where are the rest of your friends? Where are they? See? And there's his origin story. But now going back to like our favorite movies.
Oh yeah,
we always
say Pixar is Incredible, the first one, and then regular Disney would be. I like Aladdin. Aladdin was dope.
Really?
Aladdin was cool.
That's a good take.
They have great songs. Aladdin has great songs.
I love
Genie is, I mean, Robin Williams.
Oh my god!
One of like the best. Well, do you consider him a chameleon actor? Because sometimes I don't always think Williams. Sometimes because he doesn't always just say like I'm Robin Williams in the spotlight, because he's always played a different character, whether it's like in a different suit. Because didn't he play? What was the movie where he played a woman, Mrs.
Doubtfire?
Mrs. Doubtfire. But then he does a great job doing that, and then he's a great job as himself. And then he also does a great job doing like voice animated work. And so it's like, yo, he is truly a chameleon. As the same way I look at like Eddie Murphy as a chameleon, because you realize like Eddie Murphy does a great job with like his animated stuff. He makes Donkey like
Mushu.
He makes Mushu. Like we love those characters because of the voice behind it, because nobody else could pull off that type of voice.
I have a question. When you said a chameleon actor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you trying to say, is it someone that fully immerses into a role that it almost doesn't seem them, but it just seems like the character?
Yes, and then also
I got somebody like that.
And also being able to adapt into different movie genres and movie roles, whether it's funny or comic or anime or cartoon. Like you're able to immerse yourself and fully, take in that character and make it your own.
I got a question. One actor that I will say that I think does a better job than Robin Williams at that who I guess by your definition, a chameleon actor would be the best one, is Johnny Depp.
Oh my God, Jeff, bro, you took that word right out of my mouth, bro. What the hell?
Any role that dude goes in becomes his own identity, own entity, literally.
My God.
They'll never
Jack Sparrow?
Jack Sparrow to
Edward Scissorhands.
to the Mad Hatter to what's the movie where he was a lizard?
Rango. Rango was a great
Rango.
movie.
Yeah.
Ringo was fun,
Like
He even had a good Willy Wonka.
it was a great Willy Wonka. Like
Yeah, he was.
he was a great,
Honto.
and these are completely like different characters. So yes, by
Honto
that
too,
definition,
the Lone Ranger.
yep. So I will give you Johnny Depp as a great chameleon actor. But yeah, it's just very few. There's not many because I can't throw Denzel into any movie. If you want Denzel for Denzel himself. Like you can't throw him into Tarzan. Like
what are some movies that you guys watch specifically like for the actor? Or do you guys watch movies for the actor, the director, or the plot? Like what drives you out of those three?
I usually watch based on like genre. Like if it's an action movie, that's already on my list, easy. If I like the idea of the plot, also that. The only times I will watch for an actor, like for that reason, is if like I'm looking at a movie and I see the actor that I love truly, and I'm like, I gotta check it out. It's at least worth seeing because I love that actor.
Some movies will depend on who the actor is because, I mean, we can name off Denzel's entire catalog, and they're all great. But it's also him taking on and making it more him, and that's kind of like the difference between a chameleon actor and like somebody else. Like Denzel is Denzel; he's playing a character, but it's still Denzel in the forefront and in the face. And so, like even with like Equalizer, it's Denzel, but he's supposed to be this, this trained killer who's like very smart and tactical. But also you got Training Day, where he's this, this dirty narcotics cop. But it's like, I believe you. I believe you being this type of person. But then you also got American Gangster, where he's Frank Lucas. And that's like, and it's like, I appreciated those movies for the movies, but I also liked that it was Denzel being those characters.
Right. Okay. I know.
So that's why I like the movie, because all of Denzel's work is really hard to replace him. It's hard to replace him for maybe the only one I might give that maybe somewhat replaceable is maybe Remember the Titans. He was a great coach. He was great coach Boom, but it's you maybe be able to get off maybe a few other actors that might be able to do as good of a job. Maybe, but it's very debatable.
But what's funny about Denzel and like people like actors like him is I think of it like let's say you have like an artist who paints multiple different canvases. Each one is completely different, but they still have that signature. That's what I think about with Denzel. Every character from like trained assassin to like really like low key gangster. It's like you said, it's him. And you can tell that it's his personal brand of the character, but he has the range to know the role.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's phenomenal. Like, he does that. I think, in my opinion, Samuel L. Jackson also does that. Just
he takes actors like those take command of the character as opposed to you submitting yourself under the character and hiding behind it. To where everybody loves the character, but sometimes it's like, oh, but it's me behind it. But for Samuel and Denzel, they are the front and the character is in the back. And so you'll love it, but you also are loving the character himself.
Is it more of like that? Is it more like that actor is using their skills or abilities to breathe life into that character versus like someone that is immersed so much in the character that they make the character seem like their own entity?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Because some actors have a better because some actors will do a better job of doing both. Sometimes, like, do you think that like Will Smith's like, I Am Legend character or Independence Day, but then you saw him play Genie. You saw him play, I forgot what the little fish's name in Shark Tales. Like,
Oscar.
They were them, but you also knew that this is also Will Smith.
Okay. So you'll have like your Denzels and Will Smith where it's like they play different roles. It's kind of like the same thing, but they do a good job of like making that character seem believable. Where you'll have a
You'll have a Robin Williams or a Johnny Depp that is a great actor, but it brings it breathes life into it to where everybody loves like they'll dress, you'll do a Comic-Con of the Mad Hatter and everybody loves the Mad Hatter, but it's also Johnny Depp did a great job being the Mad Hatter himself or being Willy Wonka or being Jack Sparrow. Like these are iconic characters that people still love and appreciate to this day, but also you have to give homage to the person who brought life into it as opposed to
someone who does a good job of both, where it could be a hit or miss, like they become that character, that the character is its own like entity, and that it's them playing the role would be Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes,
Jeff,
it's either his role.
Oh my god,
which is my second favorite movie, where he's like that's him, but he does a good job, or he's like the Calvin Candy and Django, where that's like his own entity, to where it's just like
right. And you talk about some of the greatest performances. Yes, he did a great job. Like him. Jamie Foxx and I forgot the Austrian actor who plays his friend.
Christoph Waltz is his real name.
Yeah,
Christoph Waltz.
And so they do great jobs in their roles, but like Leonardo DiCaprio, you believed him as Monsieur Candy. Like you believed he put a lot of passion and soul into that performance, where I was like, hey, yo, I think this man used to own slaves at one point in time.
He played
the way
too well, you know what I mean?
The way he played him, I was like, yo, and then everybody forgets that Samuel Jackson was in the background as the old slave in the back.
Lucas and Max, I got a question.
What's up, bro?
What is the last movie that you saw specifically for the actor, and was it good?
For the actor.
Want to go first, Max?
No, go ahead.
Okay. If you insist. I saw the movie called The Little Things with Denzel Washington. And I watched.
I can't remember the plot of that.
So it was like a detective thriller movie where it had Rami Malek, Denzel Washington, and Jared Leto. Denzel Washington, I'm not going to spoil it, obviously. Denzel Washington, he's a cop. He used to be a detective, but he went to be a deputy in a small town, and he comes back to assist this big time detective in his old stomping grounds to investigate a series of murders, serial killers. And it's very immersive and detailed in its and everything. And you kind of see Denzel put his own brand of development into his character. And I gotta say, I wouldn't have paid attention to the movie that much, I don't think. But the fact that it had Denzel Washington in it as that kind of role, I was like, okay, yeah, I gotta check it out.
Yeah, literally the same movie. Because I forgot the name of the movie, but that was literally it. Denzel Washington and The Little Things. Like, what? Like, get out, bro. Like, get out.
I think it's the do-rag. It's the do-rag.
It has to be.
The do-rag is communicating with us, so we already know what you're about to say.
The Little Things.
It's The Little Things I do highly recommend. I highly recommend that movie, dude. Like, it was a pretty good movie. Because
it really hasn't been that many. Well, no. Well, I'm lying, because I want to see I want to see Don't Breathe 2 specifically for that actor. I can't think of his name right now, but if you think about like what you have to do, first you have to train and do classes on how to act as a blind person. And so you're blind, ex-military, like assassin. And so it's already like crazy to think like this is how this man lives in this world, where all he has is his sense of touch and smell and hearing, but no sight. But he can live a normal, completely, like, just like everybody else is blind, he can live a fully functioning normal life. But he is like really like, you can't mess with him. And you can think that since he's blind that you can get.
The guy's name is Stephen Lang.
Stephen Lang, shout out to him, because I am literally stopping everything to go see this movie because he does a great. He does a great job just portraying this man. And then when you see the trailer of Don't Breathe 2, like it's even more.
Is that the villain from Avatar?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is, and he did a great job playing that character too. Like
I feel like he likes the ex-military role.
He does a great job with it. I don't know if he's military in his personal life, but he does a great job. But the fact that in the trailer, there's one scene where he's laying on the ground, but there's also water on the ground, and he can literally feel the motion of the water pushing on his fingers to sense if a person is near him. Like, to me, I'm like, yo, this man is like Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender. He can literally sense anything, and then up and just ping, 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 and I'm like, how? And so,
let me ask y'all a question, because I'm a little conflicted on this. For that movie, how do y'all feel about the fact that they're making him out to be more of a protagonist after everything that happened in the first movie?
Wait, which movie?
And Don't Breathe. Because in the first movie, he's made out to be the bad guy. But I mean, in reality, it's kids trying to rob him because he has a stack of like cash. But
bro, do you remember what he was doing at the end?
Oh no. The psychotic part. The psychotic part. At that point, I was, because for me, I was for him in the beginning. I wanted him to kill all the kids in the beginning. But then when I found out, that spoiler for anybody to see, like he had somebody tied up downstairs. He pulled out the freezer and he had a container full of
say it.
Reproductive liquid.
Oh no.
And he had to boil it to activate it. Be like 9 months and you get your life back. It was literally a whole breeder. And oh my gosh. At that point I was like, no, kill him. Because like that is just sick. And so I honestly wanted him to track down the girl who escaped. That's what I hoped for. But I don't know how I feel about him being the protagonist. Like everybody's attacking him. But at this point, it's like, don't F with me. And that's kind of like really what it is. Don't F with me. And if you do, I'm going to show you why you shouldn't F with me. So now he's more of like the blind Rambo.
I think the last movie that I saw for the actor or actress was Ma with Octavia Spencer.
I couldn't tell if that movie was good or not. I couldn't see her play the psychotic, evil, psycho person.
It's one of those that you just kind of have to just experience it yourself just to see how you see it.
Mm.
It, in my opinion, it was a little disappointing.
I bet. Yeah.
It was kind of like
my last favorite movie that I liked from her. Well, it wasn't even movies; it was a series. It was when she portrayed Madam C.J. Walker. And that was a Netflix series. That was the last one that I liked from her. But man, it's very few nowadays. It's very few like I'm seeing it because of the actor. It's more
about movies for the director. Like, what movies have you guys seen, or the last movie that you're like, oh, the director made it, gotta watch it?
I promise you, it means nothing to me.
Yeah. I mean,
the director really don't mean like the only like few ones where it's like I like it because like this is a so and so film is like Michael Bay.
Tim Burton.
Like back then, like in like the 2009, 2010s, like Michael Bay films were like my favorite, just for like just the cinematography of like how everything is like being done.
James Cameron.
James Cameron's a good one too.
I didn't watch Bay movies for that. I watched Bay movies because they had Transformers. You know,
But Michael Bay did a great job making Transformers what it was. So
yeah, I mean, yes and no.
But it's also Transformers.
I love
Transformers.
I just, he had a formula. He ran with it 5 times.
The first 3 times it was okay, and then the last 2 was kind of just.
No, that's the thing.
Why?
I dragged my cousins to the theater to see Transformers 4. And they're like, "Why are you so interested?" I'm like,
why?
Robot dinosaurs breathing fire, while other giant robots that transform into trucks ride on top of them. Why not? Like, let's go. Why are we still here?
The reason that that's ridiculous is the same reason why you're seeing The Rock pull down a whole helicopter from Hobbs and Shaw. That's the same reason why you want to see it. It is ridiculous, but I have to see it through, my boy. I got to see it through, my boy.
Got to see it through, my boy.
So the same reason why you want to see a giant robot riding a robot Tyrannosaurus Rex is the same reason why somebody wants to see The Rock yank down a chopper with his bare hands. Just
You just want to see it. You just want to
But
experience it.
I was thinking, I was honestly thinking Quentin Tarantino for me.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino or Christopher
Quentin Tarantino.
Nolan for me.
That's great.
Quentin Tarantino for sure.
What is Christopher Nolan's catalog? I always hear him, but I can never.
Tenet, the Dark Knight trilogy.
Dark Knight.
This dude makes hits.
Tenet is too confusing. I can't tell what's happening in Tenet.
It's a lot.
Tenet is like, is this 007 or is this like international terrorism? Like what am I missing here? Like
all of the above.
You said yes or what? Like I'm seeing 007 action, but I see international problems happening, and all I see is men in suits. Like I'm missing something.
Oh, you know what? I still think is a slept-on movie series. The Kingsman.
Who sleeps on the Kingsman?
The second one was like
Kingsman 1 was good. I've never seen Kingsman 2.
The first one was pretty dope, dude.
First one was damn good. I loved it.
Was bomb. The second one is what killed it for me.
Dope.
I never saw the second one, so I
think it's
don't
what
know.
Killed it completely. Like, I mean, you see that they haven't really made any other ones.
I mean, they're gonna release the old school Kingsman, where it's like you built the birth of the order, like back in the old days.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I feel like that's a better one, because you see how in Kingsman there is an elegance and a code of gentleman conduct. So you're not just an ordinary agent. There's something classy about you. There's something where you're really living by a set of rules. Like these are like, modern day Jedis, where you are made and to go through all these tests and to really be a specific type. You're not just a dude in a suit just walking around like he's here. Like you're really living through this conductive life where you can really blend in and just be this gentleman.
Yeah, you blend in with a full 3-piece suit. Yeah, that's real.
Exactly. So
it kind of comes off like it's almost like they were like, "Hey, Michael Bay, make a James Bond film." He's like, "All right."
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
You have the second one where you introduce the American side of it.
Yeah. I think if you're gonna do Kingsman, you're gonna have to either go back in time or you're gonna have to make this an entire international affair. Because initially it was all British, and then the
second one was international a little bit more.
No, I'm saying you're gonna have to continue to go beyond that, because if you're making Kingsman like this special order service where everybody is living by a certain code, then it should be an international Kingsman for everybody. Everybody in every country lives by this gentleman's code. And so if you could take it to Tokyo and then into Germany and then into Africa where there's a Kingsman around the world, then you could do it that way. But if that doesn't work, then you just have to go back into the 80s.
I think that's dangerous. I think that's dangerous because it's too much. Like, if you remember in the first movie, they were talking about, like, you got CIA, you got Interpol, you got the FBI, you have
MI6 or whatever.
The variety, MI6, the variety of special forces. But no one had, like, conventionally had heard of the Kingsmen. They were ghosts. They were the elite. Like, when you call everyone else, you call the Navy SEALs to take someone out, you call CIA to look into an operation. None of that works. The Kingsmen. They're behind the scenes of everything. So, like, that was very special and unique. And yeah, you add the American branch. I mean, that's cool, I guess. But America already has CIA and stuff. If you keep adding more and more and more, it kind of takes away from the original image of the Kingsman. Like, you can have other organizations, but if it's just, in my opinion, if you have everyone doing the same thing but just like more different flavor, it's gonna turn into a messy situation.
Because even with the Statesman, they put a Western twist on it. Like, they had like the belts and like the bolo ties, and it's like, this is supposed to be about being a gentleman. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. There's there's another one that I'm trying to compare to. Come back to me. It'll come back to me in a second.
So, what's the last movie that you guys saw, like, for the plot? Like, you saw the trailer of the plot, and you be like, yo, or the plot of the trailer, you're like, yo, I gotta go see
it. Fast and Furious. You said family.
Vanello plays in the background.
That man said that was struggling family.
You said
I felt that. I felt that in my bones.
Vanello.
But wait, you have to come back. Why? Family. Okay. Family.
For me, the most recent movie that I saw for the plot.
Don't Breathe 2 for me.
You haven't seen it yet.
I know, but we've seen the plot and we've seen the trailer, and it's already like a sequel to something that I've already enjoyed. So
no, what's one that you saw the movie and you're like, for the plot, and you're like, wow, it was either good or it was bad.
The Tomorrow War.
What you say, Lucas?
Tomorrow War. Chris Pratt. See, I'm a sucker for action movies, and I like the premise of it. I thought, hey, let's shoot him. Let's fight him. Let's do it. I love that kind of movie. So I watched it. It was a good movie. You should go see it.
I had to see out Black Widow. I had to see it just to see, like, I hope it's good. But if it's bad, it's like, at least she gets something. But I watched it and I got bored. I kind of got towards the end where, like, I saw like the climax of it, and I was like, well,
Let me ask you a follow-up question. Do you think that was just because of the movie itself, or do you think because it was released later than it was intended to? Like, after all that waiting, it's just now you get it.
Yeah, because like you'll be so prepared. You'll be so prepared and so anxious to see it, and then when it comes out and it's not what you think it is, and it's kind of just like a very much a letdown. And that's why I'm really hoping that for whatever they do for Black Panther 2, like, everybody's kind of kind of hesitant, because it's like, we already know in the real world what's happening. Rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman, but since he's gone, it's kind of like, what are they gonna do? I don't want them to ruin it, but since they're still making it, it's like, all right, now you have a bigger expectation than the first one. Because now you're going to have to really make up for him not being there.
But those expectations are not usually they come from just like, first movie being great, universe being great. Let's keep that train going. Now it's real world expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, every movie, every Iron Man movie that came after the first one had high expectations because the first was so great. Excuse me. Every Avengers movie that came after the first one had high expectations because that was so good. But, you have Black Panther 2, everyone expects it to be amazing, but you have that extra baggage.
But I think Black Panther, it only stands out different because there's a real world element tying to it.
Exactly.
None of the because it's the same thing for Fast and Furious. A main character in the real world passes away, and when you're trying to continue the series, it doesn't really hit as much because a main character actually has passed away. And so that's why, like, that's my biggest fear is that, yes, when Black Panther, when the trailer comes out and stuff, I'm going to go see it. But it's like, I really don't want them to, for one, I don't want them to replace him. I don't want them to replace them. And then for two, like, they still have to make sure that it's centered around at least Wakanda or whoever the new Black Panther is going to be, which I personally hope that it's Shuri.
I've heard a few rumors that either they're going to bring back Killmonger,
or if they bring Killmonger back, yeah.
And you Shuri as a new Black Panther.
Yeah, what was the movie that you picked that was for the plot that you were like?
Stay undercover, I'm stealth. My whole life I kept on waiting for shit. Had to learn to go get it myself. Yeah, I'll get this shit by myself. Yeah, I'll make a way for myself. Yeah, I see you got a new dude and that's cool, but I promise we fuck I won't tell. Yeah, know that you miss it, I tell. Because you still hit up my cell. So just let us out of ourselves. Cause I think I'm losing brain cells. Cause you're toxic, so toxic, still want you myself. Wanted that girl for some years now. Now she unbuckled my belt. And see that she like how I felt. I'm on a mission, no I cannot fail.